Hey everybody, this is Joy D'Angela. I'm here with the kid Gowie and the legend Steve Francis.
Stevie Francis, showtime.
Steve, how you doing today?
I'm blessed. Hello.
That's good. That's good. So I know there's a whole pandemic going on. So how are you doing in the midst of the pandemic? How's you and your family?
I think that we've, since probably late April, despite what everybody was saying, I was able to talk to my team doctors at the Rockets and, got some early tests. So we've been, we quarantined at the beginning. So we're taking our time and being very careful, especially me that I've been traveling. So, making sure I'm taking a lot of vitamins and drinking a lot of this and staying hydrated.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So basically, tapping into your earlier days, when you come from certain areas, you got to make do with what you have. So, there's certain people that grew up playing basketball on a milk crate. Some people played basketball on a sheet of wood or something like that. But you spent your time on the block, and to make some time go past, you would shoot a basketball at the top of a phone booth where y'all ripped the roof off. And I want to know, how much did that improve your shot?
Nobody ever asked me that question, bro. Like, I had to get the ball and walk up behind it so many times just to make sure that ball can really fit there with some wiggle room. And it took you had to have a good touch. There was some other guys who could make it, but for me, that was my go-to move. That was my $5. Bet $5, you can't do it. So as a youngin' out there, while they were making other type of money, I was getting that money at a young age.
Also, I wanted to talk to you about John Thompson. Unfortunately, we just lost him. And I know that you were one of the players he was actually recruiting. But unfortunately, Iverson came before you, and Iverson kind of had a similar upbringing to you. And, just based on their standards, they weren't able to have you guys back to back, because we know how the media gets and how that can put a lot of pressure on a head coach and different things like that. So I just wanted to know, what are some things that he inspired you throughout your life, or your biggest takeaway from him?
I know for him, early, playing for the Celtics, he probably experienced racism at a higher level than we ever possibly will see in the sport of basketball that we all love. And, for him to even take the job through the Depression, through Dr. Martin Luther King. After that, then he took the job at Georgetown, a predominantly Caucasian school with the history of slaves and all those things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about the University of Georgetown, the Underground Railroad, and, all of those type of things. And I'm pretty sure that he knew a lot about that. And he didn't really have to really speak much of what he's done. He just wanted to speak of what he wanted out of you. One of my fondest memories was when as everybody said, thought I was a man. And I came in the gym, entouraged out, and I had my hat on backwards. And I walked in, all the guys went in first, I'm making my appearance. And I just hear this deep voice from this brown chair that he has in the gym, and it's probably still, it is right there to this day. Steve, come here. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? I'm thinking he's going to give me a private workout, something like that. That's what he normally does. If he felt that I didn't work out or he didn't want me to play, and I wasn't, he was like, hey, just think about your body, think about your mind, and all those things. So the disciplinary was always there from him to me. And, those conversations and, just seeing him, just knowing he's in the building, going to be missed by a lot of people.
Yeah, his reach was definitely beyond basketball. I mean, when the news broke, it was a lot of people saddened by it. But, he left a good legacy. He touched a lot of you guys, and, a lot of you, he's living through you guys today. So pretty good dude.
Thank you, man. We're working on getting the John Thompson League in D.C. right now as we speak. So, his legacy will continue at Georgetown, and, of course, with people that played under him in Georgetown or even in the streets of D.C. So we've been, and, Mile talk about doing that as we speak right now.
Okay, dope.
That'd be dope. So how involved would you be in that league if y'all were to do it?
Excuse me?
I said, how involved would you be in the John Thompson League if you were to do it? How involved would you be as far as what role would you play?
Of course, one of the board members, because, there's so many people in Washington or all across the world who have, whose lives he's touched. And the ones that I'm familiar with who know about, the Kenner League and, the history of Georgetown. So we'll get together and come up with a committee and, you know, execute our plan. So it's not a rush situation with the COVID going on right now. So planning is very important, especially when you're talking youth. Sorry for some unfortunate things that just happened in my city last night with a young kid. So, you know, things like that can help us prevent all the violence and stuff that's going on.
Do you think you deserve credit how it transitioned? Do you think you were the trailblazer for the hybrid point guards today?
I would say it was changed into lead guard. I don't think that there's one person who would say that they're the one, but I think you've seen guys start playing multiple positions. So if you're a point guard and you're labeled just a point guard, you're interested in being the shooting guard. You're interested in being the center. So as a point guard, you think you can play all positions. So I think that position started getting magnified as other guys started bringing out more scoring than just passing.
One of the things that I wanted to touch on, as far as like the combo guard or hybrid guard situation goes, like she was pretty much saying, and just to follow up on that, do you kind of feel like you don't get credit as being one of the first? I mean, obviously we get the Allen Iversons, who was one of the original, you know, not traditional point guard. Then, you know, then came Baron Davis. But you kind of only hear about Iverson when people talk about the most athletic point guards that came in the game, took over when it was time to take over, and really went out and got that bucket when needed be. So do you feel like you're deserving of more credit from that aspect?
I mean, the trailblazer is always, you know, of course you're going to be the one noticed. But I don't think that it hampered from anyone's game. Not myself. It's not about the notoriety. Basketball knows basketball at the end of the day. So if that's the measurement to, you know, that position, that's a great place to measure. Allen is in the Hall of Fame, and all the other people you name, we're not. So that alone just shuts the conversation. But basketball players and people, fans, true fans of basketball know, you know, about, you know, that position and, you know, who those people are. So it wouldn't be up to me to be like, I'm upset, but anybody can get a bucket. You see it today, like these guys getting buckets. Schroeder's getting buckets. I'm like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
He's getting buckets.
That dude, him and Lou Dort have had me on the edge of my seat all series long.
Just to kind of follow up on that, you know, you basically saying that you would have been in a similar position had you been like in a game 7 against the Houston Rockets. Obviously, you're on good terms with Houston right now, but just going back to that place, do you feel like you would have been like CP3 in that situation? Like you really would have had that kind of chip on your shoulder, really going at it, like we're not going home. I got to make a statement here.
I think even though Chris played Chris. He wasn't, I'm not saying he was like, oh, I'm going to beat him like that, but he was more in tune. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to be in that position on the Rockets, maybe, even when he was with Oklahoma the first time. So his comfort level in that series, his poise and his let a bygone be a bygone, he took it completely business, even though he was in Houston for a short time. So for me, it would have been on sports in every play. Pretty much. I mean.
So that being said, how much would you average in today's league with it being how it is offensively?
Man, like the lanes are completely open. You're right. I couldn't put a number on it because, like me, I was trying to get a triple-double every game. That's why I really like Russ' game, because he's trying to win. But if it was up to getting buckets, like anybody can do that. But it has to be in the structure, so everybody. If you just turn to a one-on-one free fall, I don't think you can go that far. But it would be fun. I'll be on SportsCenter a lot. My highlights would be a lot better, but it's, you know, it's a change of the guard, and, you know, from social media to what we're actually doing now on Zoom. So,
do you see any similarities that they have that you may have had? Like, do you see yourself in them at all?
I think that the winning aspect, they want to win. I mean, they've been around it long enough. They've won playoff games, lost series, and stuff like that. But I think they're both at the point of tired of here getting all the accolades, MVPs, scoring, and all of that. Like, I think they're at that point where they're ready to break the mold and get to, you know, the finals and win a chip. So, yeah, I mean, at that point, in this position that they're in right now, I think winning the championship is the most important thing for them and their legacy, because I don't think that it's a money-driven aspect now.
So, basically, I wanted to bring up Hakeem Olajuwon, Yao Ming. I wanted to bring up your relationship with these guys. I know when you first touched down into Houston, you know, you had Dream as kind of like a mentor, kind of give you the feel about the city and different things, the team as a whole. So how does it feel just having such a legendary person to turn to after your very short stint in Vancouver? Because I know you wasn't with it.
It was kind of relieving because I knew most of the attention, besides, you know, the way that the draft went for me, the way that I reacted would be aimed towards him, because he was, you know, in his latter years of a dominant career in Houston, and Rudy and the organization was changing, as you see that they had Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley at the time, and then once Scottie Pippen was traded and Barkley was there, so I was able to, you know, to get the talk from Dream about what it is to be a franchise player on and off the court. And that was early, man, 22 years old, having that conversation with a future Hall of Famer, all-time block leader, rebound leader, and Olympian. So that was an honor to be, you know, kind of tutelage from him early. Okay,
dope. Now, on that same subject, did you pass some of those things down to Yao Ming when he came into the league?
The professionalism, definitely. But he already knew. He came from being the most popular player in basketball besides Michael Jordan immediately once he decided to come to the United States. So he was used to the fame, but the thing that I wanted him to do is center himself about being calm so he can do what he knows how to do, and that's to play basketball and relax. A lot of people didn't really get an opportunity to see him shoot as much as he really wanted to, but he was a good shooter. And he, you know, his career ended kind of short because of injuries, but we still have a great relationship to this day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great to know, because Yao was definitely like that. And I feel like when it came for him to get that Hall of Fame ballot, a lot of people kind of forgot or overlooked what he actually did for the game. But, you know, being a Houston Rockets fan, we saw it firsthand and we knew what he was capable of doing. So that's dope to know.
Bringing up power and being a powerful voice for players back in the day, how special was it for you to see the players just boycott and not play because of social justice and things like that?
I'm happy the solidarity of every player. It wasn't like anyone really wanted to step outside the box and be like, hey, this is going to affect my image, this is going to affect my money, this is going to affect, no. And not saying that those things aren't important, but in the world, and to have TV's millions of people watching you every single day, looking at your Instagram, and you to voice your opinion, at least that'll get to somebody that hopefully the oppressors can hear. And that's what they're doing. They're making their oppressors hear. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
It's definitely a beautiful thing. And like I said before, it's just amazing that every single team did it. Not one team played. So yeah, it's really, really dope to see for sure.
And I think for the women of the WNBA, I think they definitely deserve a round of applause, because look at it. They're sacrificing. Before the season, they were arguing about their pay, and they're willing to sacrifice that now for the rights for, you know, Breonna Taylor's, you know, and things like that. So they deserve a lot of credit also.
Yeah, that's definitely a fact. Like the WNBA, I kind of feel like they have way more to lose just based on their situation, and they've just been going extremely hard, whether it's walking out during the national anthem or just not playing at all. So yeah, the WNBA definitely deserves their respect.
Absolutely.
Just to double back, just real quick, I wanted to ask you a question about the traditional big man. So like I said, you got to play with a Hakeem, you got to play with a Yao Ming. So I wanted to know, how do you feel about today's league and them kind of separating from the traditional big man?
That's a good question. I was just talking to my advisor, my coach, who taught me, and I was like, Coach, where all the big men gone? And he was like, everybody's learning how to shoot, you know, early, and you know, watching the players just pull up from half court. You know, they're starting young, and but hopefully you'll see a recycle of it, because you got to have some type of big in the post. I mean, LA is doing good with bigs by unit with McGee, Howard, but they have adjusted their game to running up and just getting, you know, scrap points. They're not getting plays called for them. So I guess that's the way the big man is used now.
How do you feel about the Rockets playing small ball? Do you think it's hurting them more than helping them, or do you think it's helping them more than hurting them?
I mean, it's going to be hard to go against Anthony Davis like that if, you know, it goes deep down to where he has to post up. So there's going to be a lot of tricky gimmicks, and defensively is double teaming. So hopefully the help side will be there, because Anthony Davis is two people. he's, you know, he could be MVP at any season. So that's the matchup I'm looking at. Who's going to guard Anthony Davis? LeBron and James will be 0. You know, that'll X each other out. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, speaking of politics, you know, one of the biggest trades happened to be, you know, you for Tracy McGrady. How did you feel in that moment when you heard that news?
Damn, what the hell? What? Like, really? I was like, Moochie. I called Moo. I was like, Moo. I was like, Moo. And it was crazy because I was just in the gym like a couple of days and I talked to the coach about it. He's like, nope. And it was crazy. But then again, at a young age, you know, I didn't know the business of basketball, but that right there woke me up quick.
Right.
Yeah, I was shocked, bro. Like, really.
Hey, so like just the piggyback on that, how did you receive that news? Because I know today, like, they cutthroat with it. I mean, I seen Blake Griffin find out he got traded to Detroit through Twitter. I seen
Harrison Barnes found out during his own game that he got traded.
Like, this man is on the bench and found out he got traded. It's like, bro, so I want to know
how
that
happened to Coutinho in Boston afterwards. But damn, I think I probably went. I don't know. I was probably in the car or something. Somebody called me. I was here in Houston somewhere, probably about to. Back then, I probably was about to have a pool party or something, get on a plane and go to Miami or something. Ain't no telling. But I was like, really? Yeah, it was a tough day though. But man, it definitely toughened me up as far as business savviness, and yeah, we're here now. But I still love Houston, as everybody knows. So
sure.
No love lost at all.
Let's talk about your playoff predictions. So I can tell you've been watching basketball. So I'm happy that I'm able to talk to you about this. How do you who do you have winning this year?
I like the way that Miami is playing in the East. They're playing old Miami style basketball, locking it in. You know, focusing on the team's other best player. So that's some real Eastern Conference basketball. That's probably the best series thus far. So it's a lot of scoring and surprising from a lot of people. Unknown people are making buckets out there. But to me, it looks like an AAU tournament. So if you walk into that gym, like for me, a gym like that is small enough for me to just feel like I'm really at the firehouse or something. So I know a lot of guys are looking back on wherever they grew up and trained at. And I bet you that comfortability is why you've seen some guys break out of their slumps this year.
How do you think you would have performed inside the bubble?
Ain't no Ruth Chris in there. I don't know, man. I don't know how I would do it without Ruth Chris. I heard a little bit about the living, but hey, if you're getting paid for it, like a lot of people say, and you really love it, you know, you got to bite the bullet.
So one of the things I wanted to mention, you're a Jay-Z fan. Jay-Z is my favorite rapper of all time. And I want to know, how did you feel when you heard your name in Excuse Me, Miss Remix? When he was like, I'm a franchise like a Houston Rocket.
I was like, about
a
time.
surreal moment?
Nah, man. Before I got drafted, like a long time in Las Vegas, I think this was like '97. I met him in Vegas at the mall at the time. And he was just starting at Rock Nation. And he was just chilling by himself. And we were just talking about basketball. And, we were just talking. I met him back then. And ever since then, I watched his career even get bigger as he watched mine get bigger. And we always had mutual respect for each other. And, yeah, it helped me definitely in games. Like, you know, people got music they want to warm up to. So if I hear that in the warm-up line, that'll give you that extra boost. And so that was always something, you know, that. And his music is timeless.
Right.
Oh, yes.
For sure. So, you know that.
Back to the playoffs for just a quick second.
Playoffs?
Yes. I have to ask you, who do you have coming out the West? I know you're former Rockets, but do you think that we are good enough?
I think whoever wins this series between us and the Lakers. I like the Clippers. I like Denver beating the Clippers. So whoever wins this between us and the Lakers, I think will represent the West.
Right.
I think a lot of college coaches and a lot of guys who played in the NCAA tournament can attest to it. But it's a little bit more games, a little higher stakes, a little, you know, no crowd. But hey, it's basketball.
Before we get out of here, you know, I'm a big firm believer about giving people their flowers while they can still smell them. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. So you were the first person that introduced me to basketball. So like, yeah, I would play video games like Live 96, Live 97, but it wasn't until I saw you play for the Terps where I decided to get into basketball. And then I followed your career going to the Houston Rockets. And to this day, I'm still repping the Houston Rockets. So people will come to me and be like, yo, you from Maryland, why are you a Houston Rockets fan? And there's always one answer, and it's Steve Francis. So I just wanted to make sure I let you know that big inspiration. I'm very thankful to be able to do this. So shout out to Joy for bringing me along, and shout out to you for allowing me to be a part of this.
I just heard it. Shout out to you. As soon as I heard it, you. Straight Baltimore right there. Straight you.
Boy, he clowned you. He clowned you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Love to see it.
All right, thank you guys so much. And y'all need me to come back, I'm open to it.
I really appreciate it. And like I said, I gotta get you back on here because we gotta get you in some matchups for sure. We gotta dedicate it just
you
to
too.
that.
You too.